The church doors burst open before I could react. My father walked in first. Behind him were Ryan and a man in a tailored grey suit carrying a leather briefcase. None of them looked surprised to see me. They looked prepared. "Ethan," my father said calmly, "give me the folder." I didn't move. Instead, I slipped it behind my back. "So you knew I'd be here?" His eyes shifted toward Eleanor. "I warned you years ago to stay out of this." She stood her ground. "You've been lying long enough." The man in the grey suit finally spoke. "I am Mr. Wallace. Family attorney." Attorney? If this was only about an old family tragedy, why bring a lawyer? Mr. Wallace opened the briefcase and removed a thick stack of documents. "Ethan," he said carefully, "before you make assumptions, there are facts you've never been told." My father interrupted him. "No. Just one word." "Sharp." "Desperate." For the first time in my life, I saw fear in his face. Not anger. Fear. The lawyer hesitated, then slowly slid one document across the wooden table toward me. It wasn't a will. It wasn't a trust. It was a DNA report. At the top were two names. Ethan Carter. Robert Carter. Underneath, in bold letters. Probability of biological relationship, 0%. I read it again. Then again. The room spun. Robert Carter. The man I had called Dad for 32 years. Wasn't my biological father. Ryan stared at the floor. He already knew. "You all knew," I whispered. No one answered. Then my mother rushed into the church, tears streaming down her face. "It's time," she cried. "He deserves the whole truth." She turned toward me, struggling to breathe. "Grace wasn't your sister." My heart pounded so hard I could barely hear her next words. "She was your mother." The world seemed to stop. Every memory. Every family photograph. Every explanation I'd ever believed collapsed in a single sentence. But before anyone could explain further, Mr. Wallace's phone rang. He answered, listened for only a few seconds, and his face went completely white. He looked directly at me. "They found her." Silence filled the church. Then he added 4 words that changed everything. "Grace is still alive." For several seconds, nobody spoke. I searched every face in the room, hoping someone would laugh and admit this had all been some cruel misunderstanding. No one did. My mother collapsed into a chair, sobbing quietly. My father closed his eyes as though he had been carrying a weight for decades. Only Ryan avoided looking at me. I broke the silence. "Start from the beginning." This time, no one tried to stop me. My mother wiped away her tears. When Grace was 16, she became pregnant. She was terrified. "We convinced everyone she had gone to live with relatives, while we secretly raised you as our own." I felt the floor disappear beneath me. "So you let me believe my mother was my sister?" She nodded. "We thought we were protecting you." "No," I said calmly. "You were protecting yourselves." Eleanor quietly handed me another letter. It was written by Grace. She had begged my grandparents to let her raise me herself. She promised to finish school, work, and provide for me. Every page was filled with determination and heartbreak. But the final letter was different. "If Ethan ever reads this, tell him I never abandoned him. They told me he would have a better life without me. When I tried to come back, they threatened to call the police and accuse me of kidnapping my own son. I couldn't breathe. Every birthday. Every Christmas. Every family photo. She had been alive. And somewhere out there, believing I hated her. I turned toward my father. You stole my entire life. He didn't deny it. Instead, he whispered, we made one terrible decision, and then spent 30 years making worse ones to hide it. Ryan finally spoke. I found out 5 years ago. Dad made me swear I'd never tell you. So that's why you got everything. Ryan lowered his head. It wasn't because they loved me more. He looked as if he had carried the guilt for years. They gave me the money because they thought I'd stay loyal. Before I could answer, Mr. Wallace received another message. He looked at me with a mixture of relief and disbelief. They've confirmed her identity. He paused. Grace wants to meet you. I stared at the message, knowing that in a matter of hours, I would meet the woman I'd spent my entire life believing never existed. But I had no idea that one final secret was waiting for me. And it would change not only my past, but my future. The next morning, I drove to a quiet lakeside cafe where Grace had asked to meet. I arrived early. Not because I was eager. Because I was terrified. For 32 years, I'd imagined hundreds of versions of my life. None of them included meeting my real mother. When she walked through the door, I recognized her immediately. Not from the old photograph. From my own reflection. We had the same eyes. The same smile. For a long moment, neither of us spoke. Then she whispered, I'm sorry I missed your childhood. I shook my head. You didn't miss it. You were robbed of it. We embraced, and for the first time in my life, I felt a piece of myself fall into place. Over the next few weeks, Grace told me everything. She had never stopped looking for me. She hired private investigators, wrote letters that were never delivered, and even tried to take my grandparents to court. But they convinced everyone she was unstable and trying to destroy the family. Without money or support, she lost every legal battle. Yet she never gave up. The anonymous photograph, the letters, the invitation to the church, it had all come from her. She decided I deserved the truth, even if it meant exposing decades of lies. As for my parents, the consequences finally caught up with them. The court ruled that they had deliberately concealed documents, falsified family records, and interfered with Grace's parental rights. While many of the original actions were too old to prosecute fully, the civil case forced them to pay substantial damages and publicly acknowledge the truth. The trust fund they had quietly managed in my name, money left by my biological grandfather, was transferred directly to me. It was enough that I could finally quit working 2 jobs and start the engineering firm I'd dreamed about for years. Ryan surprised everyone. He testified against our parents. He admitted they had bought his silence with money, paid off his debts, and convinced him that exposing the truth would destroy the family. In court, he apologized, not because a judge asked him to, but because he knew he had helped keep me in the dark. Rebuilding our relationship wasn't easy. Trust never returns overnight. But honesty gave us a chance neither of us had before. As for my parents, I chose not to fill my life with revenge. I set firm boundaries. I forgave them for my own peace, but I never allowed them to control my future again. Today, Grace and I speak almost every day. We are making new memories instead of mourning the old ones. I often think about the years we lost. Nothing can bring them back. But the truth gave us something lies never could. A future. If there's one lesson I learned, it's this. The truth may hurt for a moment, but a lie can steal an entire lifetime. What would you have done if you discovered your entire life had been built on a family secret? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more incredible stories.